We've all heard of manifesting. Vision boards, affirmations, scripting. Maybe you've even tried some of it. Maybe you've repeated "I am abundant" 1,000 times, but your bank account didn't change. Maybe you've visualized your soulmate, but you're still alone. Maybe you've read every law of attraction book and still something feels off. That's because most of what we're taught about manifesting only scratches the surface. It works at the level of the mind, but not the source. You see, manifesting isn't about controlling reality. It's about becoming so aligned with it that reality has no choice but to respond. And that's where we begin. The first technique that will change how you manifest forever is this. You must stop manifesting from lack. Most people try to create from a place of emptiness. I want money because I feel poor. I want love because I feel lonely. But energy doesn't lie. The frequency you send out is what the universe mirrors back. So if your manifestation is rooted in fear, you're not drawing in abundance, you're broadcasting scarcity. That's why the most powerful question you can ask isn't, "How can I have more?" It's, "What version of me already is this?" You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So try this. For the next 24 hours, act like the person who already has everything you've been asking for. Walk like them, talk like them, think like them, not as a trick, but as a truth. Because that version of you already exists. You just haven't embodied them yet. The second technique is embodying the feeling before the form. We've all been taught to wait until the thing arrives to feel the emotion. But what if joy isn't the result of manifestation, but the cause of it? The universe doesn't respond to your thoughts, it responds to your state. So if you want love, don't just say "I want love." Be a vortex of love. If you want wealth, don't just focus on money. Focus on the feeling of expansion, freedom, security. Most people try to manifest from their head. But the universe speaks in frequency, not language. So sit down, close your eyes and ask, what does it feel like to already have what I've been praying for? Then live from that space. Not just when you're meditating. All day, all week, because when your emotions shift, your timeline does too. Now here's where it gets wild. The third technique is manifesting in reverse. You've probably never heard this before. Instead of asking, "What do I want?" ask, "What wants to be birthed through me in this season?" Because sometimes, we're manifesting things that don't even match our soul. We're chasing illusions that our ego craves, but our higher self doesn't align with. That's why you need to flip the question. Your soul didn't come here to get everything it wants. It came here to remember who it is. And when you start manifesting from alignment instead of attachment, the whole game changes. You stop chasing outcomes and start channeling energy. You stop pushing against life and start partnering with it. So journal this tonight. If my soul could speak clearly, what would it want to experience through me right now? The fourth technique is one of the most sacred, sacrificing the old identity. Every time you manifest something new, something old has to die. A belief, a habit, a version of yourself that doesn't match the frequency of what you're calling in. But most people resist this death. They want the new life while clinging to the old self. That's like trying to walk into the future while dragging a corpse behind you. It doesn't work. You can't bring your scarcity mindset into your abundance era. You can't bring your fear of rejection into a soulmate union. You can't bring your self-sabotage into a season of success. So ask yourself, what version of me must I bury in order to birth this new reality? And are you willing to let them go, not in theory, but in practice? Because manifestation isn't just about creation, it's about purification. The fifth technique is energetic integrity. This one is a spiritual non-negotiable. You cannot lie to your soul and expect the universe to deliver truth. If you say you want peace but stay in chaos, the universe gets mixed signals. If you say you want love but keep settling for attention, the universe gets confused. You have to become uncompromisingly honest with yourself. Are your actions aligned with your intentions? Are your words aligned with your worth? Are your boundaries aligned with your becoming? This isn't about perfection. It's about purity of vibration. The more aligned your inner and outer world becomes, the more magnetic your energy becomes. So stop asking for more and start asking, where am I still out of alignment with the very thing I say I want? Now let's go deeper. The sixth technique is quantum gratitude. Not just thanking the universe for what you have, but thanking it for what's already on the way. Gratitude is emotional evidence of faith. When you start giving thanks for the thing before it arrives, you collapse time and space. The universe says they already believe it's theirs, so let's make it match. But this only works if it's real. You can't fake gratitude. You have to feel it. So try this: write a thank you letter to the universe, as if your manifestation already happened. Thank it for the job, the partner, the miracle, the breakthrough. Speak about it in the past tense. And as you write, feel it in your body. Let it become a memory your soul already holds. That's how you quantum leap into your next level. The seventh and final technique is perhaps the most forgotten. Surrender as the ultimate manifestation tool. We think surrender means giving up, but in spiritual truth, surrender means getting out of the way. It means trusting that the universe knows the how better than you ever could. It means being brave enough to let go of the timeline, the method, the outcome, and staying devoted to the vibration. Surrender is not passive. It's active trust. It's saying, I've done my part. Now I let the energy do its part. And that's when the miracles come. Not when you're obsessively watching the clock, but when you're so immersed in your alignment that you forget to worry. So here's the million-dollar question. Can you walk by faith when nothing around you is changing and still believe everything is? These 7 techniques aren't hacks. They're spiritual principles. They're laws written into the fabric of the universe. And once you master them, not just in your mind, but in your being, you become a walking magnet for miracles. Not because you're powerful, but because you're aligned. You're no longer chasing the life you want. You're attracting it. You're living it. You're emanating it. That's what manifestation was always meant to be. Not a trick, not a hustle, but a sacred reunion between your frequency and your future. How to enter the energetic dimension where manifestation happens instantly. Most people never realize this, but manifestation doesn't actually happen in the physical world first. It happens in what I call the frequency field, a dimension of vibration, intention, and presence that exists before form. Everything you see, touch, and experience began as information, energy that condensed into matter. The chair you're sitting on, the phone in your hand, the person you've become, all of it was first an energetic blueprint. That means the real work of manifestation isn't about effort, it's about access. You have to enter the frequency field consciously, not once, not occasionally, but as a way of life. And once you learn how to tune your being to that field, reality begins to move through you instead of against you. You stop forcing outcomes and start flowing with divine intelligence. That's when things begin to shift instantly, and often without logical explanation. So how do you enter this field? It begins with presence, Not the kind of presence where you just sit in silence and try not to think, but the kind of presence where you become intimate with the moment, where you feel the space between your thoughts, where you listen so deeply that even silence has a sound. The frequency field is not accessed through your will, it's accessed through your awareness. When you become deeply aware of the now, you collapse the illusion of time. And when time collapses, manifestation accelerates. Why? Because time is just the space between energy and form. The more present you are, the more you close the gap. So ask yourself, when was the last time you were truly, fully, completely present, not with your mind, but with your soul? The next layer is coherence. Your heart and mind must be aligned. Most people say they want something, but their nervous system is in conflict. They think about abundance, but their body still feels unsafe. They speak affirmations, but their subconscious is screaming, "This isn't true." That's why nothing changes. The frequency field reads your coherence, not your words. So if your heart is out of sync with your thoughts, you're sending mixed signals into the grid of reality. You must regulate your internal world to match the frequency of your desired outcome. Breathwork, meditation, somatic healing. These aren't luxuries, they're technologies for coherence. When the heart and mind speak the same language, the universe responds like a tuning fork. That's when results begin to move at quantum speed. So ask yourself, is my nervous system calibrated to the life I say I want? Or am I still vibrating in survival while praying for miracles? Now, let's talk about emotional alchemy. Emotion is energy in motion. It's currency in the frequency field. But unresolved emotion creates static in your signal. You can't manifest clearly if your frequency is distorted by suppressed grief, shame, or anger. That's why emotional honesty is not just therapeutic, it's energetically necessary. You must feel it to free it. And when you free it, you raise your vibration not artificially through hype, but authentically through release. The frequency field doesn't require you to be happy all the time. It requires you to be clear. Clear channels manifest faster. So sit with your emotions. Let them teach you. Let them pass through you. Don't bypass them, bless them. Because every emotion you integrate becomes fuel for your frequency. Every wound you heal becomes power. Every tear you shed becomes light. Once you begin to clear your channel, the next dimension opens. Intuitive alignment. In the frequency field, logic is limited. It can only calculate based on the past. But intuition is the language of the divine. It's how your soul speaks to you through the frequency grid. It doesn't shout, it whispers, it nudges. It leads you to the right message, the right person, the right decision, not through analysis, but through resonance. And if you're not listening, you'll miss the breadcrumbs. You'll override your alignment with overthinking. You'll choose comfort over calling. But when you trust your intuition, even when it doesn't make sense, you start navigating life from vibration instead of logic. And that's when manifestation becomes effortless. So here's the deep question. Can you follow a feeling that makes no sense to your mind but feels like home to your soul? Now we enter the realm of energetic minimalism. In the frequency field, too much noise blocks the signal. Too many opinions, too many distractions, too many open tabs in your mind. You don't need more. You need less, but deeper. Less scrolling, more stillness, less chasing, more channeling. Clear space in your home, clear space in your schedule, clear space in your mind. Because the cleaner your environment, the cleaner your vibration. We think manifestation is about doing more, but in truth, it's about removing what's not aligned. The less resistance you carry, the faster energy moves. This is not about austerity, it's about alignment. When you value your vibration more than your comfort, your life begins to reflect your essence, not your conditioning. So ask yourself, what in your life right now is taking up space but not feeding your frequency? The final key to unlocking the frequency field is faith frequency. Faith is not belief. Belief can still carry doubt. Faith is knowing beyond logic. It's the vibration of certainty without evidence. It's acting on the unseen as if it's already here. And this is the frequency that bends reality. Not because it forces outcomes, but because it collapses resistance. The universe responds to conviction. Not desperation, not begging, not pleading. Conviction. That's why the most powerful manifestors walk like it's done, speak like it's done, serve like it's done. Because in the frequency field it is. You're not waiting for it to happen. You're aligning with the timeline where it already has. That's the mystery of quantum creation. You don't manifest by convincing the universe. You manifest by becoming the version of you who no longer needs to ask. And when you do that, when you live in presence, coherence, emotional clarity, intuitive alignment, minimalism, and faith, you don't just dip into the frequency field. You live there. You become a walking transmitter of divine vibration. You attract everything that matches your truth. You repel everything that isn't. You don't chase reality, you co-create with it. You don't hustle for alignment, you become the frequency that reprograms the field. That's the secret. That's the power. That's the path. The manifestation multiverse. How to collapse timelines and step into the reality where everything is already yours. There's a secret most people are never told. Every version of your life already exists. Right now, there are infinite timelines playing out, each one shaped by a different version of you. There's a timeline where you're wealthy beyond imagination. There's one where you're deeply in love. There's one where you're sick, another where you're thriving, another where you're living your soul's highest calling. These aren't fantasies. They are real, vibrating in parallel dimensions, waiting to be accessed. The only question is, which one are you tuned into? Manifestation is not about creating something from nothing. It's about collapsing the distance between your current frequency and the frequency of the version of you who already has it. That's what we mean by entering the multiverse. You don't force your way into that life, you match it. To collapse timelines, you must first understand what keeps them apart. Identity. Your identity is the energetic anchor that locks you into your current reality. Every time you say, "I'm not ready, I'm not good enough, I'm not the type of person who," you reinforce the timeline you're on. But the moment you shift your identity, even slightly, you shift timelines. It's not about faking it. It's about remembering who you truly are beneath the conditioning. Because the version of you who already has the life you desire isn't better than you. They're just freer. Freer from fear. Freer from doubt. Freer from the story that says you can't. So here's the million-dollar question. What version of you are you keeping alive simply because it feels familiar, even if it's costing you everything you want? Now let's get practical. If you want to step into a new timeline, you must make micro decisions that match the frequency of that timeline. Every choice is a portal. Every moment is a fork in the road. For example, if the version of you in your highest timeline wakes up early, meditates, and takes aligned action, then every time you snooze your alarm, you delay the shift. But every time you act in integrity with your future self, you collapse timelines. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It just has to be consistent. Your new reality is built in the small, unseen choices, the ones no one is clapping for. the ones that feel inconvenient but true. So ask yourself every day, what would the version of me who already has it do right now? Then do it, not perfectly, just faithfully, because faith collapses time. Another powerful tool is emotional rehearsal. Neuroscience shows that your brain doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's vividly imagined. That means if you can emotionally embody the feelings of your future reality now, your body begins to believe it's already happening. And when your body believes, your energy shifts. And when your energy shifts, the field rearranges. So take time daily to enter that version of you. Close your eyes, see what they see, feel what they feel, hear what they hear. Walk through their life as if it were yours, because it already is in the quantum. The more you do this, the more natural it becomes. Until one day, it's not a meditation anymore, it's your life. But here's the paradox. To fully collapse into a higher timeline, you must let go of your attachment to it. This is where most people get stuck. They do all the right things, but they're still energetically clinging. Clinging to outcomes, clinging to timing, clinging to control. And that clinging creates resistance. It says to the universe, I don't have it yet. And the universe mirrors back exactly that. That's why surrender is the master key. Not surrender as in giving up, but surrender as in trusting the intelligence of the field. Trusting that what is meant for you is already on the way, because it is. You don't have to micromanage the divine. You just have to stay in alignment, stay in motion, and stay in faith. So here's the deep question. Can you let go of when it will happen and still live as if it already has? Now let's talk about embodied manifestation. This is where the metaphysical becomes physical. It's not enough to visualize. You must become the vision. You must walk, speak, breathe, and serve from your future self. That's when people start to notice something different about you. They won't know what it is, but your energy will speak louder than words. You don't need to convince anyone. Your alignment will become your invitation. You don't need to prove anything. Your embodiment will prove it for you. This is when manifestation becomes momentum. Doors open. People appear. Synchronicities multiply. Not because you're chasing, but because you're transmitting. Your life becomes a living, breathing prayer. A sacred signal to the universe that says, I remember who I am. I remember what I came here for, and I'm ready now. And finally, the timeline collapses. Not in a dramatic explosion, but in a quiet shift. You wake up one day, and the thing you used to pray for is just normal. The peace you craved is now your baseline. The abundance you desired is now your default. The love you longed for is now your reality. And you don't even feel surprised, because it's not new, it's just finally caught up to the version of you who always knew it was coming. That's the real magic. When the miracle feels natural, when the extraordinary becomes ordinary, when the life you once begged for becomes the life you embody without effort. That's not luck, that's alignment. That's the power of the multiverse. And that's your birthright.